How y'all doing? So, I've seen multiple videos on how people do EG cluster swaps with S2K. So, there's multiple write-ups and how-tos on how to do an S2000 cluster into an EG, but as for an EK receiving an S2000 cluster, there's mostly just videos of people who will just, show you that it works. So, I'm going to give you a quick run-through on it. I'm actually running out of daylight, so it's not going to be that great, but I figure something's better than nothing. Okay, so, I'm kind of a stickler for cleaning things up and loose wires hanging out, so I depin a lot of stuff. So if you know how to depin, good on you. I advise you know how to solder for this. If not, you can do the, twist tape method and whatever. That's up to you. So then, first one you got here is your connector A. And your connector A is pretty much all of your lever controls, I guess you would say. So high beam, left and right turn signal. I think the dimmer runs off that too. I'm not 100% sure. One of the things you're going to need for this, for sure, is a piece of paper so you can write down everything. So here's kind of some of my notes. So let's see, pin A1 is where we'll start, if I have it. Which I may or may not, because I've been trying to figure this out on my own, because all stuff I found is either outdated, doesn't really do me any good, or it's for cars in, the UK, but when you're over in America, and you also have Canadian models, such as the one I'm working on, things get a little confusing. So you got pin A1, which is blue and red, and that is your seatbelt light. Now on the EK side, it's going to be pin B6, red and blue. Depending on which diagram you look into, it might be B6, it might be A6, but you will get the general idea of it. Look for the red wire with the blue tracer. It's the same on that side. So let's see, next on the list will be, I don't know if A2 exists on this, might just be A4. So A4, which is pink, and it goes to your SRS light, which is blue on the EK side, which is pin F1. And as you can see that, there's your pink wire right there. And it goes through, and there's the blue one. So it'll actually be better for me to just look at the connector this way. So yeah, seatbelt, SRS. Now when you go to the bottom side, let's see, that is first wire there to the left, because you read them left to right, is green with a red stripe. Now, there's going to be two different sets of green with red stripe wires on your EK cluster. The smaller gauge wire, which will be like probably a 16 gauge maybe, is your turn signal. Now, let's see here. It is green with red. There you go. So green with red, all the way down here at the bottom. Pin A7 on the S2000 cluster is pin C7 on your EK cluster. And I read it like 12 gauge, whatever. And that is your left turn signal. Let me double make sure on that. Okay, I'm sorry, I was incorrect. So the thicker gauge red and green wire is your turn signal wire. Okay, next you have pin A8, which is green with a yellow stripe, and that is your right turn signal, which should be right here. Pin A8, green yellow. Pin B4, green yellow, right turn signal, 12 gauge. So yet again, the thicker wires for those. So let's see what's next. We got the red with yellow tracer. So the red with yellow tracer runs to a black wire, so that's going to be a ground, and that will be pin A9. So A9. Alright, there you go. So pin A9, red and yellow, I have it indicated as negative for your ground. So the reason you have to run that to a ground is because I'm pretty sure pin A10, which is right next to it, and it's red with a blue tracer, pin A10, I think this is one of the ones I had trouble figuring out. Yeah, okay. So pin A10 is your positive input for your high beams. So it's red and blue on the s2000 side. On the EK side is pin C6. It'll be, this is the other red with green wire that I was talking about. I think it's kind of, you know, tricky. Or no, it's not. The other one's up there. Never mind, just kidding. Okay, so yeah, red or green is your high beam. And so pretty much the reason why you have to run a positive and a ground to it is because if you don't, one, they might be flipped, and two, your high beam indicator light on your cluster itself will not come on. So moving right along, the next one on the row is pin A11, which is blue and black, which I already know which one that is. It's trunk ajar. So A11, blue and black. On your EK side, pin B3, it's also blue and black, trunk ajar, just tells you your trunk is open. And that is it for your A connector. Now you go to B. Now your B connector, it's a different story. This one is mostly for powering the cluster, but there are a few things that come off it that are needed. So automatically, these two black ones right here, they're just grounds. Ground them out, it's your cluster ground, no big deal. And that's pretty much the rule of thumb every time for cars. It's, you know, black is always going to be your ground. And typically red is your power, but depends on the vehicle. So, let's see. Next we got pin B3. So pin B3, if I remember correctly, is your dimming. Should have it written out here. Yep. Okay, pin B3, red and black. And it is pin E4 on the EK side. It is also red and black. It is your headlight on dimmer. So when you turn your headlight switch on, it dims your console automatically. You don't have to dim it, and you know, you're not getting blinded when it's like super bright in your face when you're going down the road at night. So the next pin, pin B4. So pin B4 is yellow, and it is your cluster power. So now pin B4 and pin B5, which should be right there with white and red, they're right next to each other, as you can see. White and red, and then you got yellow. You have to run both of them to a yellow power wire in the EK dash. It doesn't matter which one you choose, they're both consistent power, and they run to the same spot. So as long as you tap off those, you'll get power. Let's see then. And that is it for connector B. Now you go to what I'm pretty sure is C or D. I think I was working on D last. So let's see. Green with red. It'll be, actually, do blue with red first. That's all the way up top. So C. Okay, and that's D. I'm gonna bounce back. This one's on D right now. So pin D8. Right. So this right here, this little guy, pin D8. I don't know if you can see it. Blue, red tracer. That little guy is your SRS light. So what you do with them is you take it, you run it back, and you ground it out. I mean, that's not your SRS, that's your ABS, I'm sorry. It is your ABS light. So now, if you have ABS in the car you're working on, you're going to run it to pin D1, which is also blue and red, ABS light, and, you know, it sends a positive signal in the EK and whatnot, so, yeah, pretty much the way your ABS system works, it looks for the signal, and once it checks it, it'll shut off. But being that this car does not have ABS because it doesn't exist with this trim level, your ideal option is to just, you know, ground it out. So what I did is I took it, I ran a ground wire, and I just ground it out on the chassis. You have a grounding block down there right above this. It's up here in the corner, actually. And that's where I ground mine out. And it will turn off afterwards. So then you go to pin D9. D10, sorry. Green with red tracer. So pin D10 is... Where's that? Where's that? I wrote it down here somewhere. D10. What is D10? Where do you go? Green with red tracer. Green with red tracer, green with red tracer. Sorry, I'm kind of rambling, but I figure, you know, this will be better than anything I've seen, so maybe it'll help some of you guys out, because I know it was hell for me. Seems that I forgot to write that one down. So you got, let's see, this is a D10, so I can turn my light on, maybe it makes things better. Of course, I can't use it when I'm in camera mode. Oh, of course. So, you got green with red coming down to here. And then it goes from where to where. Goes into another green with red wire. Okay. Alright, so I was just off. I wrote it as D9, it's actually D10. Maybe I just got switched up. Hold up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, I'm right. So D10 is actually your brake light, and it's the same going into the S2K cluster. It's green with a red tracer, and that is your brake light. Now, the next one over is white with a green tracer. That is pin D11, or is it? I guess it's white with blue. White with blue, negative. That is your charging light's negative. Now, the next pin is black with a yellow stripe, and that will be pin D12. Now, pin D12, yet again, the S2K cluster does this a couple times, and it's why it's been kind of a headache for me figuring this out, because no one has wrote about it before. The black and yellow will be your charging light positive, and you just got to run that to a power again, and once you do that, it'll complete the circle, or complete the circuit, and it'll be fine once you start it. It'll shut off, so on and so forth. It does exactly what it's supposed to do. So, next, we have red, or is it yellow with a red tracer. It's going to be pin D13. And pin D13 is your oil pressure light. On the EK side, it is C3. It is also yellow and red. D14 is green and orange. And on the EK side, it is pin C5. It's also green and orange. That is your check engine light. Alright, and then that is all for the D connector. And then finally, you got C, which is the most complicated one out of all of them, just because of what you have to do. So C connector is where your instruments start to kind of come into play. So, I kind of got a little bit of a mess going on right now. This is the ECT by Modifier Products, which you need for this if you're going to have your temp gauge work. And then, of course, you get your Speedo Healer V4 from HeelTech. And what that does is corrects your speedometer, so you can actually have the correct speed you're going at, not 2 miles an hour or whatever it might show you. So, now we go to C, and C1 you actually do not need. I have not removed it yet. C1, I believe, is your output for the cluster, for your speed output, but you don't need that because the Speedo Healer kind of corrects it coming from the car. with your input right here, which is pin C3. And now pin C3 goes to your speedo healer, and it is connected to the green wire. Green wire is your wire going out to your cluster, and then the wire coming from the EK cluster is actually also blue with white. Should be here. Hold on one second. Here it is right here. So pin B11, blue and white, speedo, and it's the white wire on the speedo healer. Your black wire, yet again, ground, just ground it out anywhere. And then of course your speedo healer also will have a red wire coming off of it, and that is your 12-volt power to it. Just tap a yellow power wire and it'll work fine. And let's see what else. So yellow with green stripe. That one, I believe, has something to do with your... Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. I completely skipped blue. Blue, which is pin C5, is your tachometer. I'm almost positive. Yep. Okay. EK, pin C8, blue, tach. S2K, pin C5, also blue, and it's your tach. So then we got 6 and C7. So C7 on the S2K side is... C7. Why aren't you showing up now? What I gotta ran to. Oh, okay. C7 is actually your gauge for your temperature coming from the Modify where it says sensor. Where it says gauge, I'm sorry. You run that back to C7, which is a yellow wire with a black tracer, or yellow wire with a green tracer. I'm sorry, it's getting dark as you guys can see. And that is your input for your temperature on the S2K cluster. And then finally you have C8, which is yellow with a black tracer. And C8, here's right here, yellow, black. It is B10 on the EK side, yellow with black. Here's your fuel gauge. Now on the S2K, they incorporated a couple things. So your fuel gauge actually will automatically kick on and kick off your low fuel light. So if you're wiring it up and you're trying it out, whatnot, looking at things, and if it you turn it on and then the fuel gauge isn't on yet, you'll see that the fuel light is on if it has power coming to it. But then once your cluster will have power to it, it's looking for the ground to go back, essentially, and is what it's kind of doing. So then when you go from there, it comes back, and pretty much it will kick on how much fuel you have in the tank, and from there it will shut off your low fuel light. So yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. As I said, I'm still kind of finished wiring it right now, but I can plug it in and show you guys what I currently have, which is the majority of things. Give me 1 second. Yet again, I'm sorry for the quality of this video. I just am kind of in a rush to get this car done for the customer, and also I wanted to make a video for people because, as I said, I had quite a time trying to find this stuff, and I was very frustrated about it. So I figured I would share with you guys who would like to do it yourself and, help you out a bit. So I got it plugged in now. Let me find the keys. There they are. So, as I said, not everything is going to be, working in terms of speedo healer, because I don't have that 100% done yet, and I don't have the ECT 100% done yet. I have to run a wire from the ECT. Now when you run your ECT wire for there's a slot that says sensor, In the EK, you run your ECT wire from sensor all the way over to your ECU, and you're going to tap off of the plug. I can't remember the exact pin. I believe it's 26. If you look up the ECU pinout for an EK, it will show ECT, and that is the one you want to tap off of, going back to the sensor, and that should fix all your heating issues. Now for your ground on that, on their website, they tell you if you don't ground it out up near your pickup for it, like your sensor. So what I did, I ran a ground from the inside, from the ECT, all the way over to the thermostat housing. And, sorry, let me turn that beeping off while I'm explaining this. So that should give me the most accurate reading. But other than that, that should cover pretty much everything. And I'm going to show you that, you know, it does work. And it comes on. SRS light should turn off in a second. Boom, there that goes. And you can see the ECT is blinking. Well, I haven't really got it set up yet, though. The ABS light. So, where's that ground at? I should have it hanging. There it is. So, ECT, or, the ground for the ABS. There you go. Grounded out, it's gone. So as you can see, the temperature is spiked right now because I don't have it wired up yet, coming from the ECU. So the car is kind of confused. It's like I got power and whatnot. So yeah. Brake light will be on until you turn the car on. Same with charging, same with low pressure. Let's see. Left turn signal, right turn signal. He's got a bulb out. See how it automatically dims. And now high beam indicator. High beams are on. Fuel, as I said. Just one more time. I'm gonna, in case I forgot anything that turns on and turns off. There you go. Check engine light, maintenance required light, both of them shut off. Good to go. And oh yeah, well, tachometer. I guess I can start the car. Don't mind the rough idle. It's a B-Series turbo car with cams and a bunch of other stuff. And it's currently about probably 30 degrees out here. So she's a little rough on idle, but when she warms up, she's fine. But yeah, turbo car stuff. That's it. So yeah, and we put the brake down. Boom. So yeah, hopefully this helped you guys out a little bit. Oh man, I said. Just to show you that the tachometer works. But yeah, hopefully this helped you guys out a little bit. And you know, hopefully people will improve on this video maybe, because nobody else has done it. So, until next time, hope y'all enjoy.